Ladies and gentlemen, Pioneer Women's Varsity Basketball is live and on the air. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the main gym here at the campus of Ann Arbor Pioneer High School, where it is Pioneer taking on the women's Skyline women's varsity squad. Pioneer is 8-1 on the season. They beat Skyline to begin the year. That was a 76-29 win. Then they beat Monroe. They lost. Their one loss of the year was versus Saline. Then they have 6 wins in a row, beating Lincoln, Bedford, Huron, Ypsilanti, Lincoln again, and Huron. Over on the other side, we'll take a look at that Huron game in just a few moments, but if we take a look at the other side of things, over for the Skyline women's varsity basketball, that they are 1-9. They are trying to string 2 wins together. Their last game was a 49-47 win, a 2-point win versus Monroe. They opened up with a loss versus Skyline. Pioneer beat them. That was that 78-29. They lost to Birmingham Groves. They lost to Lincoln. They lost to Ypsilanti, to Temperance Bedford, to Saline, to Gabriel Richard, and to Temperance Bedford again. So Skyline coming off their first win of the year, looking to put 2 wins together, and Pioneer looking to try and keep cruising and keep that win streak going, trying to stretch that out and get that to, what was that? Trying to make that 7 wins at this point. Let's take a little bit of a look at the scoring in that last Huron game. As we take a look, it was Lauren DeWolf leading all scorers with 17 points, and this is my unofficial totals. It was 16 points for Alexis Clark, 6 points for Covington, 2 points for Stewart, 3 points for Harris, 4 points for Brines, 6 points for Hicks, 2 for Brewer, and that was your scoring on the Pioneer side. Over on the River Rat side, 10 points for Wright, 5 points for Rios Acosta, 2 points for Rondon Cardone, and 2 points for Alamendris. And that was the scoring, Pioneer versus Huron. So we'll take a brief moment, play a few messages from the MHSAA. The JV game before that, Dexter took it to the Pioneer Ladies JV squad. So Dexter walking away with the win there. Pioneer hoping to flip the script and make it difficult on the Skyline Eagles. Skyline warming up on the right-hand side. Pioneer in their warm-ups on the left-hand side. We have about 2 minutes to go. Let's play just a couple messages from the MHSAA. Then we will have the opening inbounds as you are watching Pioneer Women's Varsity Basketball, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting.
Multi-sport participation, fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
If you're a recent high school or college graduate and still have a passion for the games you played in school, still remember the thrill of putting on the uniform, why don't you help us out and become a registered high school game official? Get out there and give something back to our kids. Visit the MHSA website for more information. There's help wanted just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Integrity, commitment, love of the game. These traits describe the people high school sporting events can't start without. The officials. They're out there every day giving back to our kids. Let's give them the respect they deserve. Better yet, why don't you become one? Visit the MHSAA website for more information. There's help wanted. Just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
As public address announcer, Michael, up as we are getting ready, we're going to start off with the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, the playing of the national anthem. As we're getting ready for the opening lineups here for little crosstown rivalry action between Pioneer and Skyline. Boynton starting for Skyline comes out. Brine starting for Pioneer. House starting for Skyline. Clark starting for Pioneer. Perry starting for Skyline. DeWolf starting for Pioneer. Victory coming out for Skyline as a starter. Hicks coming out as a starter for Pioneer. Salata starting for Skyline. And Stewart, the fifth starter for Pioneer. Skyline Eagles head coach is Johnny Horn. Assistant is Joanna Evans and Berzan House. Over for Pioneer, it's Tyrone Hicks, assisted by Lawrence DeWolf.
Tonight's officials are Mr. Chad Stephen, Sam Dunn, and J.K. Kennedy.
As we are getting ready to go, Skyline will inbound right in front of us, as it's going to be Salata inbounding in front of us. Gets that over to House. House bringing it ahead for the Eagles. House on the blockades, being watched by DeWolf. House bounce pass over to Salata. Salata gets it over to Boynton. Boynton Moves it over to Perry. Perry back to Salata, trying to get it underneath. Bounce pass into the corner. That put up for three. Off the side of the rim. Victory taking that shot. Now comes back. Rebound for Skyline. House puts it up. That off of the rim. Brines gets the rebound. Brines gets it over to Stewart. Stewart brings it ahead for Pioneer. Here comes DeWolf. DeWolf over to Hicks on the near wing. Hicks bounce pass trying to get over to Clark. Clark was heading out into the corner. Just a little miscommunication. Eagles have it coming the other direction. As House bounce passes it over on the near side to Perry. That knocked away. DeWolf for Pioneer gets into the paint. DeWolf puts it up off glass with the left hand and puts it in. Lauren DeWolf puts Pioneer on the board first, 2-0. As coming ahead, Perry for the Eagles gets over half court, being watched by Brines. Perry dribbles to the left-hand side on that far wing. Moves it over to House. House along the far sideline. House being watched by DeWolf. House dribbles, bounce pass, gets it over to Victory. Victory, top of the key, being watched by Clark. Bounce pass over on the near side over to Boynton. Gets it back over to Perry. Perry on that far wing, being watched by Brines. Kicks it back over, bounce pass, trying to get it underneath into the paint. That rolls onto the floor, pulling it away. Here comes DeWolf for Pioneer. DeWolf quickly ahead to Clark. Clark puts it off glass and in with the right hand. Pioneer up 4-0, and Skyline wants a quick timeout. We'll take it with them. How about a few messages from the MHSAA?
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the health and safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the health and safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
4-0, the Pioneer lead here with 6:28 left to go in the first quarter. Skyline breaks the huddle. Pioneer has Hicks, DeWolf, Clark, Brines, and Stewart out, the starting five. Skyline with House, Boynton, Perry, inbounding it is Salata. That over to House. House over to Salata. Salata brings it over to Perry. Perry back over to House. Coming up the near wing. Victory also out there. Gets the bounce pass. Victory in the near corner. Tries to head down the baseline. Gets it over. Perry on the far wing. Perry dribbles down to the baseline. Rolls it up. And it rolls all the way around and down. Pioneer 4. And the Eagles, 2, that quickly ahead. Hicks has it in the far corner. Hicks for 3, bounces off the rim, tracked down by Clark. Clark gets it over to DeWolf. DeWolf for Pioneer, moves it over to Brines on the far wing. Brines in the far corner, kicks it back to Stewart. Stewart moves it to Hicks. Hicks over to DeWolf in the near corner. That over to Clark. Clark into paint, moves it over to DeWolf. Clark taking a 15-footer, and it rattles home. Clark with 4 points, Pioneer 6, Skyline 2. House has it for the Eagles as she comes up court. House moves over half court, being watched by DeWolf. House spins with it, dribbles to her left, hands it off to Perry. Perry working right at the blockades. Brian's watching her. Perry comes onto the far wing, gets a screen, trying to shake Perry free. That bounce pass over on the near side to Salata underneath the Perry. Perry into the paint, now works her way back out on the far wing. Salata trying to work through a screen now over on the near side. House, top of the key. House dribbles to her right on the near wing. Pioneer trying to make it difficult to get in. That went off of Victory's foot, pulled away. Here comes Hicks for Pioneer. Hicks goes over half court. Pioneer up by 4 points. Hicks. Tipped out of bounds. I think it went off of a foot. That will be Pioneer ball. 4:52 left to go here in the first. DeWolf will inbound. Baseline left, right underneath her own basket. House watching the inbounds pass. As that kicked over to Hicks. Hicks underneath to Clark. Clark moves it to Brines. Brines puts it off glass and in. Brines' first points of the day. 8 points for Pioneer, 2 for Skyline. Perry brings it ahead. Perry on the far wing. Brines watching her. Perry coming down the far sideline. Perry trying to find a place to go with it. Brines has her, and a 5-second call made. Pioneer will inbound on the far sideline right in front of their bench. Pioneer 8, Skyline 2, 4:30 left to go. That inbounded to DeWolf. DeWolf brings it ahead for Pioneer. DeWolf comes over half court. DeWolf passes it over to Hicks. Hicks on the far wing. Hicks gets into the paint. Hicks trying to put it up with the left hand. Contact made. That will be the first foul of the game, as that one's going to go on House. So House, or 15. No, it was House, because Belonga was in there. Sorry. So Belonga takes the foul. That's the first of the game. Hicks puts it up, rims around the far side of the rim, and comes off on the near side. She has one more coming. 4:16 left to go. Pioneer 8, Skyline 2. Trying to increase the lead to a 7-point lead. Hicks puts it up, puts it in. Hicks with her first points of the game. That in along the far side, bounce pass. Now that lifted ahead quickly over to Belonga. Belonga on the near wing, trying to pass it off. That ball loose. Now Stewart has it. Stewart over to Hicks. Hicks coming down the far sideline. Hicks gets into the paint, stops, pops. That off the front of the rim, pulled away by Belonga. Belonga heading the other direction for Skyline. Belonga quickly up. That shot for 3. And it was Salata. That just off to the left-hand side. Pioneer with the rebound. DeWolf ahead for Pioneer. On the near wing, DeWolf dribbles to her left, now kicks it over to Hicks. Hicks back underneath the Bryans. Bryans moving over to Clark. Clark from the free throw line, dribbles to her left, hands it off to Stewart. Stewart into the paint, puts it up with the left hand, wouldn't fall. Clark with the rebound. Clark dribbles it once, puts it off glass. That rims out. That move back to DeWolf. DeWolf puts it up for 3. That off the side of the rim, just would not fall in that position. The Eagles have it ahead to House. House trying to get it over. There's a whistle. Trying to get it over to Belonga. Travel called. That will go over to Pioneer. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left to go here in the first. Pioneer 9, Skyline 2. We do have the fantastic cheerleading squad in-house over to our right, creating a wonderful atmosphere, and we are very, very grateful for them. Pioneer will inbound right in front of their own bench. As Stewart to inbound. Oh, actually, Hicks comes running over. Looks like Stewart lost her glasses. That's no fun at all. No good if you can't see. That inbounded. Always tough with the masks, too. And the glasses. Coming up ahead, here comes DeWolf over half court. DeWolf for Pioneer. Gets into the paint, floats it up, puts it in. And the whistle. Basket will count. That's 4 points for DeWolf. That foul is going to go on Salata. So DeWolf has a chance to make it a even 10-point lead. As she spins the ball, puts it up, puts it in. Only net. 5 points for Wolf. 3:12 left to go. Here comes the Eagles. Perry brings it ahead. Over half court, being watched by Bryans. Perry trying to dribble onto the blockades. Now comes over on the far wing. Perry kicks it over along the far sideline for House. House dribbles top of the key. Moves it over to Betalonga. Now House gets it back. House dribbles to her left, trying to cut between 2 Pioneer players. Bryans picks up her first foul. 1 for Pioneer, 2 for Skyline. Salata to inbound to Perry. Perry brings it over half court. Perry working right on that second of the blockades at center. Perry bounce passes it over to Salata. Salata hands it off to House. House on the near wing. House dribbling, trying to get around to Wolf. That ball comes loose. House gets it back. House steps back just inside of half court. House works her way into the paint, trying to put it up. There's a foul. That one is going to go on Hicks. Hicks first foul, 2 on Pioneer, 2 on Skyline. House will go to the line shooting 2. Boynton comes in, replacing Victory for Skyline. actually say that it wasn't in the active shooting. So inbounding, Skyline gets it over. Now Belonga has it on the far wing. Belonga works her way. She's straight up center, about 10 feet off of the top of the key. Now Belonga comes along the far wing, gets it over to Perry. Perry in the far corner. Perry trying to avoid Bryan's bounce pass over to Boynton. Boynton underneath the Perry. Perry bounces it back to Boynton. Now Salata puts it into the near corner for House. House gets it over to Salata in the near corner, knocked away by Clark. Well, that went right out of bounds. It'll stay Skyline ball. 10-point lead by Pioneer. 1:56 left to go. Salata to inbound on the near sideline. Bounce pass. That's stolen away by Bryans. Bryans gets it over to DeWolf. Here comes Pioneer. Quickly ahead to Stewart. Stewart, long cross pass over to Hicks. Hicks works her way to the free throw line. Bounces it over. There's DeWolf. That shot just a little long. Coming the other direction is Belonga for the Eagles. Belonga on the near wing. Lofts it over for Perry on the far wing. Back to Belonga, top of the key. Clark watching her. Belonga gets into the paint as that goes high off the glass. That shot just a little hard. Quickly ahead to Hicks. Hicks into the paint, puts it up with the right hand. Would not fall as Salata gets the rebound. That comes back over to Hicks. Now Clark has it on the near wing. Clark trying to get it over to Stewart. Stewart in the far corner. That tipped out of bounds by House. That will stay Pioneer ball as it is Pioneer 12 and Skyline 2. 1 minute 11 seconds left to go here in the first. Hicks will inbound right in front of the Skyline bench. Perry, nope, now they'll have Woolley watching her. Hicks gets it over to Covington. That knocked away from her, but that'll stay Pioneer ball. Hicks trying to set up Covington right in the paint. Skyline did get their hands on it. That was going to be a fantastic pass. Now DeWolf to inbound, baseline left. 1 minute 9 seconds left to go in the second. Harris has it, top of the key, moves it over to Hicks. Hicks over to DeWolf. They're going to call that over to Skyline. Skyline ball, 1 minute 4 seconds left to go. 10-point lead for Pioneer, 12-2. That brought ahead by Perry for the Eagles. Perry goes over half court. DeWolf now watching Perry. Perry comes on the near wing, now over to the far wing. Perry lofts it over on the far side to Belonga. That just out of her reach. That'll go over to Pioneer as Stewart will inbound along the far sideline. 53.6 seconds left to go in this first quarter. Pioneer 12, Skyline 2. DeWolf brings it down the far sideline for Pioneer. DeWolf heads over center. DeWolf dribbles onto the far wing, hands it off to Hicks. Hicks top of the key, moves it to Harris on the near wing. Harris back to Hicks. Hicks dribbles to her left, gets it over to Stewart on the near wing. Stewart calling for a screen. Gets a screen from Covington. Stewart works her way over onto the far wing, passes it off to DeWolf. DeWolf along the far sideline, 25 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Pioneer playing for the last shot. DeWolf passes it over to Hicks. Hicks on the far wing. Hicks moves it over to Harris on the near wing. Over to Stewart. Stewart works her way around the arc to the top of the key, moves it over to DeWolf. DeWolf calls out signals. 9 seconds left to go. DeWolf works her way into the paint, kicks it for three for Hicks. That one just a little long. 3 seconds left to go. That fired ahead, intercepted by Harris, but not quite enough time to put that shot up. And at the end of one, it is Pioneer 12 and Skyline 2. For Pioneer, it is DeWolf with the point lead with 5 points. Clark has 4 points, and Bryans has 2 points. It is Perry who has the 2 points for Skyline. Let's play a little push on, get you fired up for the second quarter. You're watching Pioneer Women's Varsity Basketball, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting. are live from the main gym here on the campus of Ann Arbor Pioneer, where Pioneer has the 12-2 lead on top of Skyline. Pioneer looking to string together. They have 6 wins in a row. They'd like to make it 7. Skyline coming off their first win of the season. They want to make it 2 wins in a row. Brines the inbound right in front of us. Brines inbounds over to Hicks. Hicks comes ahead for Pioneer over half court. Perry watching her. Hicks down the far sideline, gets it over to Bogan. Bogan, top of the key, over to Harris. Harris on the near wing. Harris works her way around the arc, back over to Hicks. Hicks on the near wing. Hicks gets a string from Covington, puts it up from the free throw line. Bounces off the front, the back, the front, and in. That is 3 points for Hicks. 14 for Pioneer, 12-point lead. Coming up ahead is Perry for the Eagles over half court. Perry puts on the Jets, gets into the paint, puts it up. That bounced off the back of the rim. Battle for it. Perry gets the rebound, bounces it over on the near sideline. Trying to get it over to Woolley, and Woolley just couldn't get there in time. That will go over to Pioneer. 7:23 left to go. Pioneer 14 and Skyline 2. Full timeout called by Pioneer as they want to get everything together and keep the pressure on Skyline. Let's play a message from the MHSAA.
Integrity, commitment, love of the game. These traits describe the people high school sporting events can't start without. The officials. They're out there every day giving back to our kids. Let's give them the respect they deserve. Better yet, why don't you become one? Visit the MHSAA website for more information. There's help wanted. Just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
You don't have to agree with every call the officials make, but we cannot have the games we love without them. So please give the officials the respect they deserve, because we cannot play without them. Pioneer to inbound. Hicks on the near sideline. Pioneer with the 14-2 lead. 7:23 left to go in half. Bogan brings it ahead for Pioneer as Bogan, coming down that far sideline, avoids some pressure, gets it over to Hicks. Hicks moves it over to Harris on the near wing. Harris spinning with it, gets it back over to Brines. Brines gets the ball over to Bogan and along the far sideline. Back to Hicks, top of the key. Hicks underneath to Covington. That went off of a foot. Covington goes down to the ground to grab that. Boynton picks it up. Boynton trying to get it over to O'Brien. That went out of bounds. That should be Pioneer ball. Clark comes back in as Harris, Covington, and Hicks get a breather. So it's Brines, Bogan, Clark, Stewart, and DeWolf will inbound on that baseline left. Perry watching the inbounds pass. That gets over to Clark. Clark into the paint. Clark spins with it, puts it off glass with the left hand. That would not come down off the rim. That moved over. Here comes Skyline. Bringing it ahead is Perry. Perry gets it ahead, trying to put it up. O'Neal. That pulled down by Clark as that went high off the glass and off the rim. Coming the other direction is DeWolf. DeWolf to Bogan. Bogan puts it off glass. That a little hard, but Brines gets it. That rebound grabbed by Clark. Clark puts it a little strong off the glass, and then the ball spins away from Clark. And that will be a timeout call before Pioneer lose. Oh, excuse me, that was a foul. Now it's a timeout. Thought I heard that said. I might be crazy. We all know that, but that's all right. So 6:30 left to go before halftime. Pioneer 14, Skyline 2. Fouls so far, 2 fouls in this half on Pioneer, 3 on Skyline. So thus far that hasn't come into play, but it may well towards the end of the half, as both teams getting instructions from their coaching benches. And then Pioneer breaks the huddle. Pioneer in their home white jerseys with the numbers in purple on the front and back. Pioneer in block lettering across the front. Purple stripes on the shorts. Skyline in their baby blue jerseys with the dark blue numbers on the front and back. Skyline across the front. They have a darker purple and white stripe on them. Pioneer will inbound. 6:30 left to go before halftime. DeWolf will inbound, baseline left. Perry launching that inbounds pass. Gets it over to Bogan. Bogan on the near corner. Bogan trying to work her way down. Gets it over to Clark. Clark takes a shot from the free throw line. That wouldn't fall. Bryan's trying to knock it away, but here comes Perry for the Eagles. Perry over half court. Perry on the far wing. Perry stops right at the line, throws it over. There's a shot, and putting in a three-pointer is Salata. That's her first points of the game. Makes it 5-4 Skyline. 9-point lead by Pioneers. Stewart has it in along the far side. Gets it over to DeWolf. DeWolf dribbles to her left. DeWolf works her way around the arc. Hands it off to Bogan. Bogan over to Brines on the far wing. Brines into the corner for Clark. Clark moves it over to DeWolf, top of the key. Gets a screen from Clark. DeWolf right at the top of the paint. Bounces it back to Clark. Clark moves it over in along the near corner for Bogan. Bogan takes a step, puts it up. It's a two-pointer, a long two-pointer, 18-footer, but she nails it. Bogan's first points of the game. 16 for Pioneer, 15 for the Eagles. Perry has it for the Eagles, top of the key. Moves it over to Salata. Salata bounce pass, stolen away by DeWolf. DeWolf comes down the lane for Pioneer, puts it off glass with the left hand, puts it in. That is 7 points for DeWolf, 18 for Pioneer, 5 for Skyline. That brought ahead. Here comes the Eagles. Bounce pass by Perry to Salata. Back to Perry. That's knocked away by Clark. And trying to hold it in as that comes over. Timeout by the Eagles. So I'm trying to grab the ball here and not strangle myself with my headset. It's a reason why I'm doing the broadcast and nowhere near the rest of the court. I am the opposite of athletic, but that just puts me in awe of these amazing athletes on the court. It is Pioneer up 13 points. Let's play a little push on and get you going for the last 5 minutes, 4 seconds before the end of the first half. Salata to inbound, gets it over to O'Brien. O'Brien moves it to House. House along that far wing, gets to the free throw line, puts it up. That bounces off the side of the rim, falls away to the far side. Clark with the rebound. Clark moves ahead for DeWolf. DeWolf for Pioneer, comes over half court, bounces it to Brines in the near corner. That knocked away by Perry. That will stay Pioneer ball as Brines, now Hicks will inbound on the near sideline. 4:47 left to go. Pioneer 18, Skyline 5. 13-point lead for Pioneer. 2 fouls for Pioneer on the board, 3 for Skyline. Hicks gets it to Clark. Clark along the baseline, back to Hicks. Hicks works her way around the arc. Bounce pass into the paint. That put up off the glass. Wouldn't fall. And coming the other direction, here comes the Eagles. That over to Victory. Victory bounces it back to Salata, and that tipped away as Clark came in, knocked it away. Salata will inbound right in front of us on this near sideline. Over to Victory. Victory quickly puts it up. That off the side of the rim. The back of the rim would not fall. Came over to the near side. Brines with the rebound. Here comes Pioneer. Stewart on the near wing. Bounces it to Clark. Back over to Hicks. Hicks with the long two-pointer. That rattles in, as that is 5 points for Hicks. 20 for Pioneer as Perry brings it ahead for the Eagles. Perry into the paint. That knocked away. Pulled down. Here comes Pioneer with it as Hicks comes ahead. Hicks on the near wing. Works her way. Top of the key. That poked away by Perry. Perry for the Eagles heads the other direction down the far sideline. Perry on the far wing. Stops. Bounce pass. Gets that over to O'Brien. O'Brien on the near wing. Moves it over to Salata. Salata over to Perry, top of the key. Perry over to House on the far wing. Back to Perry, top of the key, being watched by Brines. Perry bounces it over to House. Stewart comes out to knock it away from her. House gets it back before it crosses half court. House calling out signals, steps back right along the blockades. Moves it over on the near wing to O'Brien. O'Brien working against the Wolf. O'Brien Bounce pass over to House. House, top of the key, works her way into the paint, puts it up, that off the side of the rim, pulled down. Pioneer with the rebound. Here comes DeWolf. It's a 15-point lead for Pioneers. Stewart comes down into the baseline, puts it up off glass, rolls around the near side of the rim, would not fall. Here comes the Eagles the other direction. House has it. House loses the handle and puts it up, gets it back. Brines with the rebound, though, as that went off glass and wouldn't fall down. Here comes Stewart the other direction for Pioneer. Stewart feeds it over to Hicks. Hicks puts up a three-pointer, and it's in. Hicks for three. As that was puts Pioneer up 23-5. Perry has it for the Eagles. She backs up, trying to get a little room from Brines. Now over to House on the near wing. DeWolf watching her. That kicked over to Victory on the near corner. Victory puts it back to House. House calling off out signals. House dribbles to her left. DeWolf knocks it away. Here comes DeWolf for Pioneer. DeWolf into the paint. Puts it off glass with her left hand and in. DeWolf with 9 points, 25 for Pioneer, 5 for Skyline. 20-point lead, and there's a timeout. As Skyline wants to talk things over. How about a message from the MHSAA?
You're hearing it. The message is getting through to parents. Multi-sport athletes get injured less. Multi-sport athletes become better in their primary sport in the long run. And even though it's not why we play our games, multi-sport athletes are now getting recruited more than specialized athletes. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
2 minutes, 15 seconds to go before halftime. 25 points for Pioneer, 5 for Skyline. Team fouls stay as they were. 2 fouls on Pioneer, 3 on Skyline. So unless there's a bevy of fouls, we probably won't. That probably won't affect this first half. Skyline will inbound, baseline left. Salata to inbound. O'Brien to get the pass. Or excuse me, that was Batalonga. Batalonga brings it up over half court for the Eagles. Harris watching her. Batalonga over to House. House on the far wing. House cuts into the paint, puts it up. That off the back of the rim, pulled down by Covington. Covington hands it off to Bogan. Bogan bringing it ahead for Pioneer. Bogan working against House. Comes over half court. Bogan dribbles onto the near wing. Bogan hands off to Harris. Harris into the paint, puts it up. That off the front of the rim, wouldn't roll down. Bounce pass back over to Harris. Harris moves it over to Dombrowski. Knocked away. Coming down the near side was Bowles. Collected. Here comes Skyline. Batalonga has it over to Victory. Victory puts it up for 3. That off the back of the rim. That pulled down by Bogan. Here comes Pioneer. Bogan comes over half court. 1 minute, 24 seconds left to go in the half. As Dombrowski has it. Bounces it over to Hoffman. Hoffman trying to get it over to Harris. That knocked away. Here comes House. House for the Eagles on the far wing. House cuts into the paint. That poked away by Covington. As that comes in along the end boards. That will stay Skyline ball as House a little slow to get up, but she pops up. We're glad to see she's okay. As Skyline inbounds, Salata gets it over to Batalonga. Batalonga on that far wing, being watched by Harris. Under a minute left to go before halftime. Harris into the paint as there will be a foul. That's going to be on Covington. First foul on Covington. That's 3 fouls apiece by both teams in this half. Batalonga goes to the line to shoot 2. Batalonga puts up the first one. That off the front of the rim. She'll get another free throw coming. Second one is up. Second one is good. Batalonga with her first points of the game. Covington inbound, baseline right, 56.4 seconds left to go. Bounce pass over to Harris. Harris go over to Covington. Here comes Bogan for Pioneer. Bogan coming down over half court. Bogan working against Bowles. Bogan calling out signals, comes over on the near wing. Bogan Hands off to Harris. Harris works her way around the arc, gets to the free throw line, kicks it back over to Hoffman. Hoffman moves it over to Dombrowski. Dombrowski pulls it into the paint, now kicks it back to Bogan. 32 seconds left to go. Bogan bounces it underneath to Harris. Harris over to Covington. Covington off glass and in. That is Covington's first points. 27 for Pioneer, 6 for the Eagles. As Batalonga brings it ahead for Skyline. That moved over to Bowles. Bowles back to Batalonga. Now to House on the near wing. House dribbles to her left, spins, puts it off glass and in. As that is House's first points. That makes it 27 Pioneer, 8 for Skyline. Harris quickly ahead. Bounce pass over to Dombrowski. Dombrowski in. So Dombrowski's basket counts right before halftime. That makes it 29 points for Pioneer and 8 for Skyline. A 21-point lead. We will go over our points leaders in a moment, but right now, ladies and gentlemen, the varsity cheer team now performing as they come out. We appreciate them providing some fantastic ambience and atmosphere here. So let's take a moment and watch them at work. Fantastic job by the varsity cheer squad. We greatly appreciate them and what they do here, trying to provide some atmosphere. It's not the same as having you folks here, but they do their darndest and do a fantastic job with it. Taking a look at your points breakdown here at halftime, it's 9 points for DeWolf, 7 points, 8 points for Hicks, 4 points for Clark. Let's see, 2 points for Covington, 2 points for Bryans, 2 points for Bogan, and 2 points for Dombrowski. So good job moving that ball around. Lots of people getting some baskets there. Over for the Eagles, it's Salata for 3, 2 points for House, 2 points for Perry, and 1 for Batalonga. And that is your points here at halftime. So let's play a few messages from the MHSAA. We will be back with second half action. You're watching Pioneer Women's Varsity Basketball, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting.
Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
If you're a recent high school or college graduate and still have a passion for the games you played in school, still remember the thrill of putting on the uniform, why don't you help us out and become a registered high school game official? Get out there and give something back to our kids. Visit the MHSA website for more information. There's help wanted, just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Let's take a moment and do a little intermission scoreboard report. Let's take a look at this week's games in the SEC. If we go back to 3-14, just 6 days ago, it was Jackson beating Adrian by a score of 48-33. Father Gabriel Richard beat the Skyline team 54-26. It was Dexter beating Tecumseh 58-27. Chelsea beat Pinckney 64-34. Over on the 5th, it was Ypsilanti Community beating Huron 54-29. Temperance Bedford beat Skyline 47-20. It was Saline beating Monroe 64-52. Also on the 5th, Ypsilanti Community beat Huron 39-29. It was Pioneer beating Lincoln 66-34. Temperance Bedford fell to Dexter beating them 47-40. That was on the 6th. Also on the 6th, it was Chelsea beating Milan 63-59. Ann Arbor Prep took it to Pinckney on the 6th. That was 62-17. Over on the 8th, it was Pioneer beating Huron 63-25. Skyline beat Monroe. That was their last game, 49-47. It was Saline beating Ypsilanti Community 55-14. Tecumseh beat Hanover Horton. That was a 50-18 win. And then Temperance Bedford beat Ypsilanti Lincoln 54-11. 2 games canceled on the 9th, Adrian and Pinckney, and Chelsea and Tecumseh. Taking a look, the next games for the Skyline team is they're scheduled to play Huron. That would be on the 13th. Then on the 15th, they're scheduled to play Lincoln. Then they are scheduled to play Ypsilanti Community on the 18th, and on the 20th, they will play Saline. Taking a look at Pioneer's upcoming schedule. After this game, Pioneer plays a home game versus Monroe. That on the 13th. That's a 2:30 game. We will have that for you, as we'll have Jeff Cass, who's done some play-by-play for us for hockey. He'll be doing that. I'll be overdoing the Pioneer women's hockey game. Then on the 15th, Pioneer hosts Saline. That will be at 7 p.m. Then they play at Temperance Bedford on the 17th. That's a 7 p.m. game. And on the 20th, they host Ypsilanti Community to finish out the season. Keep your eye on the MHSAA website to learn more about the upcoming playoffs. We are in District 18 that is hosted by Saline. I haven't seen anything put out as far as brackets go. I do know that the men's hockey team will be in action on the 18th, playing the winner of Trenton and New Boston Huron. Probably Trenton. So for the 4th year in a row, we'll get to play Trenton and hopefully come out on the winning side of that, as Trenton has ended Pioneer men's hockey season the last 3 years in a row. So just a little bit of revenge would be nice, but Trenton is always a very, very tough team. It was a huge win yesterday over Skyline, 5-2 win by the gentlemen's hockey team. So we are here with Pioneer women's varsity basketball taking on Skyline. They have the 21-point lead, 29-8. Let's have just a few more messages from the MHSAA as the Pioneer varsity women just came out to warm up. We have about 2 minutes before the second half gets underway. You are watching Pioneer women's varsity basketball, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting.
Integrity, commitment, love of the game. These traits describe the people high school sporting events can't start without. The officials. They're out there every day giving back to our kids. Let's give them the respect they deserve. Better yet, why don't you become one? Visit the MHSAA website for more information. There's help wanted. Just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the health and safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the health and safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
You're hearing it. The message is getting through to parents. Multi-sport athletes get injured less. Multi-sport athletes become better in their primary sport in the long run. And even though it's not why we play our games, multi-sport athletes are now getting recruited more than specialized athletes. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
As we are getting ready to start the third quarter, Pioneer 29 and Skyline 8. Hicks coming to inbound on the near sideline. DeWolf out there, Brines, Clark, and Stewart. Hicks inbounds over to DeWolf. Pioneer ball, DeWolf. Double team, moves it over. That knocked away as Boynton got in the way of it. Out of bounds off point, and that will be Pioneer ball. Stewart will inbound on that far sideline. Stewart moves it over to DeWolf. DeWolf quickly back to Stewart. Stewart on that far sideline. Stewart moves it over to Clark. Clark back to Stewart on the near wing. Stewart moves it over in the near corner to Hicks. Hicks dribbles to her left now. Bounce pass over to Stewart. Stewart over to DeWolf on the far wing. Back over to Clark, top of the key. Clark gets it over to Brines along the far sideline. Brines with the three-pointer. That bounced off the side of the rim. Clark with the rebound off glass. Wouldn't fall. That pulled down by the Eagles. Here comes Perry the other direction for Skyline. Perry down the far sideline on the far wing. Top of the key. That for Boynton. That off the front of the rim. Pulled down by Clark. Pioneer 29. Skyline 8. Here comes DeWolf for Pioneer. Over to Stewart on the near wing. Stewart kicks it over to Brines on the far wing. Brines dribbles to her right. Now tries to work into the paint. Brines off glass. That's just a little strong. Clark trying to hold it, and Clark tried to dive out of bounds and grab it and bounce it off of a Skyline player. Unfortunately, it went off of Pioneer. So that'll go over to Eagles, but valiant attempt. Here comes Perry for Skyline coming ahead. Perry over half court. Perry right on the blockades. Moves it over. That to Salata. Salata on the far wing. Bounce pass over top of the key to Boynton. Boynton moves it over to House. House kicks it up. That off the side of the rim. Gets her own rebound. Puts it back up in the paint. That off the front of the rim. Pulling it down is Stewart. Stewart moves ahead to DeWolf. DeWolf for Pioneer. Over to Brines. Brines on the near wing. Brines dribbles to her left, works around the arc. Brines stops, top of the key, gets it over to DeWolf on the far wing. Perry watching her. DeWolf gets it over to Clark. Clark just on the edge of the free throw line, over to Stewart. Stewart into the paint, moves it to Brines. Brines into the near corner for DeWolf. DeWolf back to Brines on the near wing. Brines now top of the key, dribbles to her right, back to DeWolf on the near wing. DeWolf works her way around the arc, gets to the free throw line, puts it off glass. Actually, not even puts it off glass, just rolls it up with the left hand, puts it in. And DeWolf has 11. That moved over. Salata puts it up. That just a little to the left. Out of bounds. That's going to stay with Skyline.
Ball goes to the Eagles.
So Eagle ball. Salata will inbound. Baseline left, right underneath her own basket. Salata kicks out at the free throw line. That moved over. House puts it up for three. That off the back of the rim. Brines with the rebound. Here comes DeWolf for Pioneer coming down the far sideline. DeWolf quickly over to Hicks. Hicks on the baseline on the near side. Moves it back to Stewart on the near wing. Over to DeWolf. DeWolf over to Hicks on the far wing. Gets into the paint. Puts that up. And not quite strong enough, but affected by some contact on the shot. That's going to be Pioneer ball. Pioneer 31, Skyline 8. Hicks has it for three. Hicks puts it up and puts it in. That is Hicks' second three-pointer of the game, as she has 11 points now. So both DeWolf and Hicks have 11 points. Timeout called as Pioneer wants to talk things over. 34 points for Pioneer, 8 for Skyline, so that makes a 26-point lead if I can do some basic math. Let's play this message from the MHSAA.
If you're a recent high school or college graduate and still have a passion for the games you played in school, still remember the thrill of putting on the uniform, why don't you help us out and become a registered high school game official? Get out there and give something back to our kids. Visit the MHSA website for more information. There's help wanted, just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
5 minutes, 27 seconds left to go here in this, the third. Pioneer has the 34-8 lead, 26-point lead versus crosstown rival Skyline. Pioneer trying to put together, they're on a 6-game win streak. They'd love to continue that, push that forward. Skyline is on a 1-game win streak, their only win of the season. They wanna push that and double up their wins. As on the far side, that moved over to House. House trying to get back to Perry. That knocked away by Bryans. Here comes Pioneer. DeWolf coming down the far sideline. DeWolf into the far corner for Pioneer. Moves it to Clark. Clark works her way into the paint. Now kicks it over to Wolf in the near corner. Over to Hicks. Hicks moves it to Stewart on the far wing. Over to Bryans along the far sideline. Bryans works her way to the far wing. Now kicks back into the paint. Trying to put that up. Contact made as she and Salata collided. Whistle blown, and Bryans will go to the line. Salata picks up her second foul. First foul of the half for either team. Bryans goes to the line shooting 2. Bryans toes the line, puts it up. That off the back of the rim and then fell over to the near side. Bryans will get another one. Bryans bends the knee, dribbles, eyes the rim, puts it up. And that falls off to the left-hand side. As they're going to call a foul on Clark. So 1 foul apiece for each team here in this half. Perry brings it up for Skyline. Perry moves it over to House. House, cross-size pass over to Salata. Salata moves that over, pulled away by Clark. Clark gets it into the paint. Clark puts it up and just a little strong, but contact made underneath, and Clark should go to the line shooting 2. Salata picks up her third foul. 4:40 left to go. Clark at the line. Clark puts up the first free throw and in. That's her 5th point of the game. She has 1 more coming. So replacing Salata, coming in is Woolley for Skyline. Spizak replaces Bryans for Pioneer. So it's Stewart, Spizak, Clark, Hicks into Wolf for Pioneer. Clark puts up the second one that rims around and out. And here comes Skyline. The Eagles have it in along the far sideline. That over to House. House picks it up. Pioneer with the 35-8 lead. Now Perry has it top of the key. Perry has it on the near side, trying to get it over. That's stolen away by Clark. Clark puts it off glass with the right hand and in. Count it, and the foul. That puts it 7 points for Clark. She has a point chance to make it 8. Trying to make it an even 30-point lead. As Batalonga comes in and gives Boynton a breather. Well, no matter what the scoreboard says, this Skyline team is still playing hard, still giving maximum effort. Clark puts it up, puts it in. That'll be 8 points for Clark, 38 points for Pioneer, 8 for Skyline. As that's brought ahead by Perry as she comes down the far sideline, gets it over to Batalonga, over to House, top of the key. House back over to Batalonga on the far wing. Into the far corner it goes, trying to work her way down that far sideline was Woolley. Now that ball top into the free throw lane, that knocked down. Clark has it. Coming the other direction, here comes DeWolf for Pioneer. DeWolf On to the near wing, hands it off to Stewart. Stewart gets to the free throw line, gets into the paint. Contact made, that's going to stay Pioneer ball. 3:46 left to go here in the third. Pioneer 38, Skyline 8. O'Neal comes in for Skyline, as well as Bowles. DeWolf to inbound underneath their own basket. Baseline right, DeWolf gets it over, trying to get it over to Spizak. That knocked down by Victory. Victory gets it over to Bowles. Bowles over half court for the Eagles. Bowles at the free throw line, or at the top of the key. That knocked away by Hicks. Hicks has that pulled away by O'Neal. O'Neal puts it off glass with the right hand. Wouldn't fall. Batalonga got the rebound. That wouldn't fall. Here comes Pioneer coming down the far side. DeWolf with it. DeWolf trying to get it over to Hicks. That knocked down by Bowles. Hicks keeps it inbounds, moves it over to DeWolf. DeWolf on the near wing, being watched by Batalonga. DeWolf dribbles to her left, top of the key. DeWolf trying to kick it underneath for Clark. That knocked away. DeWolf grabbed it over to Stewart. Stewart puts it off glass with the right hand. Just a little strong. Victory with the rebound. Here comes Skyline with it. Victory comes all the way down to the baseline. She puts that up. That bounced off the rim. O'Neal trying to go up. Contact made. O'Neal will get the foul. She'll go to the line shooting 2. That on. That'll be on Clark. 2 fouls on Pioneer this half, 3 on Skyline. First free throw is up and good. That is, did I say O'Neal? O'Brien. O'Brien's first points, forgive me. O'Brien has another one coming. She toes the line, bounces the ball, puts it up, puts it in. 2 free throws for O'Brien. 38 points for Pioneer, 10 points for Skyline. Quickly ahead by Pioneer to Harris. Harris trying to get it over to Spizak. That knocked out of bounds. That will stay Pioneer ball. 2 minutes, 48 seconds left to go in the third. Covington looks to check in. So Clark will get a breather. As Hicks to inbound. Baseline right. Hicks gets it over to Stewart. Stewart in the far corner. Stewart looking to get a screen from Covington. Stewart on that far wing. Stewart gets it over to Spizak. Now hands it back to Stewart on the near wing. Stewart dribbles to her right. Gets it over to Harris. Harris moves over to Spizak. Spizak over to Hicks. Hicks hits it to Harris. Harris trying to work away to the paint. Kicks it all the way over on the near side to Stewart. Stewart dribbles to her left. Gets to the free throw line. Kicks it back to Harris on the far wing. Harris puts up a 15-footer off glass and in. Harris with her first points of the game. 40 points for Pioneer. 10 for Skyline. As that's brought ahead by Batalonga. Batalonga for the Eagles. Working against Harris. She cuts to her right, now comes back. Batalonga dribbles to her left. Gets a screen from O'Brien. Comes top of the key. Now sends it along the far sideline, as I think Stewart got her hand on that one, and Covington got the rebound. That quickly ahead to Harris. Harris underneath for Covington. Covington puts it off glass. That rolls down. 4 points for Covington. Pioneer 42, Skyline 10. Coming the other direction, here's Bowles for the Eagles over half court. Bowles gets it over to Victory. Victory at the free throw line underneath the Bulls. That knocked away by Hicks. Here comes Pioneer. Hicks over half court. Hicks gets into the paint, and that went off of the bottom of the rim, but there is a whistle. So Batalonga picks up her second foul. 4 on Skyline, 2 on Pioneer. Hicks shooting 2. As Maya Hicks toes the line, dribbles, puts it up. That off the front, the back, the side of the rim, but would not go down. Hicks has another shot coming. As Huffman comes in, as well as Bogan. Harris gets a breather. So now it's Spizak, Covington, Huffman, Bogan, and Hicks out there for Pioneer. That ball off the front of the rim, tipped away. Covington moved it back over to Hicks. Hicks over to Huffman. Huffman took that shot, that off the front of the rim. Huffman gets the rebound. Huffman on that far wing gets it over to Hicks. Hicks underneath to Covington. Covington to Spizak. Spizak from the near side of the paint puts it up. That wouldn't roll completely down. Coming the other direction. Here comes Skyline. That put up by Bowles. That pulled down by Hicks. Pioneer the other direction. Pioneer with a 32-point lead. As Hicks has it along the far sideline, gets it to Bogan. Bogan up into the paint, that knocked away. Bogan gets the rebound. Bogan in the far corner over to Hicks. Hicks puts up the three-pointer, that off the front of the rim. Covington tried to grab it. Now Spizak goes to the ground, battling O'Brien. Dombrowski comes in, replacing Hicks. Jump ball, that goes to Skyline's way. 32-point lead by Pioneer, 42-10. As Bowles inbounds it. Coming ahead with it. Over on the far side as Gonzalez had it. Now Bowles with it. Bowles into the far corner. Bounce pass, that goes out of bounds and over to Pioneer. So out there for Skyline, it's Woolley, Victory, O'Brien. Let's see, Gonzalez and Bowles. Did I miss someone? I think I got everyone. That ball inbounded by Pioneer. Bogan brings it ahead. 26 seconds left to go here in the third. Pioneer up 42-10. Bogan has it on the far wing. Bogan dribbles to her left. Heavy pressure, that moved over to Dombrowski as Gonzalez providing heavy pressure there. Dombrowski gets a screen, moves it back to Bogan. Bogan dribbles to her left, gets a screen from Covington. Bogan in along the baseline, coming down, and that's the fifth foul on Skyline. I didn't hear who it was, but that inbounded to Covington. Covington trying to put it up. That just a little short battle for it underneath. Covington goes down to the ground as well as Woolley, and that will be the end of the third. At the end of the third, it is 42 points for Pioneer, 10 for Skyline. We have one more quarter coming. 2 fouls for Pioneer in the second half, 5 for Skyline. Let's play a little push on, get you fired up for the fourth quarter. You're watching Pioneer Women's Varsity Basketball, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting. Strangely enough, we don't have any games tomorrow, but we will be back in action with the Bevier games on Saturday, including the Pioneer JV and Varsity ladies contests here. That should be at 1 o'clock and 2:30. I don't think we're going to have audio play-by-play on the JV game, but on the Varsity game, we will have Jeff Cass helping us out. That inbounded by Huffman, getting it over to Bogan, and that will go over to Skyline's way as Victory to inbound. Pioneer brings the starters back out as it's Brines, Stewart, Clark, Hicks, and DeWolf. That inbounded, bringing it up is Gonzalez over half court. Gonzalez for Skyline. Bounce pass over along the far side. Coming down the far sideline, trying to make a move is Victory. Victory bounce pass, that back over to Victory. Victory trying to work her way into the paint. That put up just a little short, out of bounds. That tipped back by Woolley. Trying to get it back over to Gonzalez. Out of bounds, out over to Pioneer. 7:36 left to go here in the fourth. Pioneer 42. Skyline 10. Hicks has it for Pioneer. She comes over the blockades. Moves it over to DeWolf. DeWolf coming down the baseline. Puts it up. Puts it in. 13 points for DeWolf. 44 points for Pioneer. 10 for Skyline. Gonzalez has it for Skyline as she's over half court. Gonzalez stops. Picked up her dribble. Moves it over on the near side. That grab by Woolley. Woolley kicks it over to Gonzalez in the near corner. Gonzalez bounces back to Woolley on the near wing. That over to Boynton. Boynton into the far corner for Bowles. Bowles works her way on the far wing, trying to go against DeWolf. Bowles kicks it back. Boynton puts it up, puts it in. 17-footer. That's her first points of the game. 44 points for Pioneer, 12 for Skyline. Quickly ahead for Clark for Pioneer. Moves it over to Bryans on the far wing. Bryans over to Hicks. Hicks gets it over to Stewart. Stewart on the near wing, calls out signals, hands it off to DeWolf. DeWolf working against Gonzalez on the near wing. Gets to the point, hands it off to Hicks. Hicks works her way around the arc into the near corner for Stewart. Hicks gets it back. Hicks to the free throw line, stops, moves it over to DeWolf on the far wing. DeWolf works her way down the baseline, floats it up, that off the front of the rim, battle for it. That pulled down by Boynton. Boynton moves it over to Victory. Victory comes ahead for Skyline over half court. Victory comes over into the near corner. Bryans watching her, hands it off to Bowles. Bowles puts up a three-pointer. That off the front of the rim, pulled down by Clark. Clark fires it over to DeWolf for Pioneer. DeWolf coming down that far sideline over to Bryans. Bryans in the far corner, back to DeWolf. DeWolf puts it up, puts it in, nothing but net. DeWolf has 15 points. Pioneer has 46. Skyline has 12. 5:50 left to go here in the fourth. On the near wing, that's Woolley. Woolley trying to get it over to Bowles. That tipped away. That'll stay Skyline ball. As coming back in for Skyline, Pacheva in, as well as House and Perry. Also out there, Boynton. As Pacheva has it on the near wing, loses the ball, gets it back, quickly kicks it to House. House gets a screen, puts it off glass. That just a little low, pulled away by Clark. Clark moves it over to Stewart. Stewart for Pioneer comes down the near sideline. Stewart stops on the near wing, dribbles back, working against Pacheva. Pacheva. Now, Stewart comes into the paint, puts it high off glass. That just a little strong. Clark with the rebound. That sat on the rim, wouldn't roll down. Clark puts it on the other side. She went from the far side to the near side, put it off glass. And that is going to be 10 points for Clark. As the ball, Skyline has it. Boynton gives it over. That dribbled. Perry puts it up high off glass and in. That is 4 points for Perry, 14 for Skyline. Pioneer has 48. As DeWolf brings it ahead for Pioneer. DeWolf over center. DeWolf working against Perry. Gets a screen from Stewart. DeWolf trying to come down the paint. That tipped away. Fired ahead for Perry. Perry has that knocked away by Stewart. Stewart heads the other direction for Pioneer. Stewart quickly kicks it into the near corner for Hicks. Hicks over to DeWolf. DeWolf off glass and in. As DeWolf now has 17 points. Ahead is Bowles for Skyline. Bowles steps back right along the blockades. Bryans providing heavy pressure. Bowles goes down to the floor. Timeout called by Skyline before Pioneer can get a handle on it. 4:12 left to go here in the fourth quarter. It is Pioneer 50, Skyline 14. So 36-point lead by Pioneer. 3 fouls on Pioneer this half, 5 on Skyline. How about a quick message from the MHSAA?
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the health and safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the health and safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
4 minutes, 12 seconds left to go here in the fourth quarter. Pioneer 50, Skyline 14. Skyline ball. Bowles will inbound right in front of the scorer's bench on the far sideline. Bowles bounce passes it over to Perry. Perry in the backcourt, comes over half court, moves over to House on the far sideline. House being watched by Dombrowski, works her way towards the blockades. Bounce pass over on the far side to Pacheva. Back over to Perry. Perry over to House. House trying to get into the paint, puts it up high and in. high arcing shot. House has 4 points now. As here comes Bogan. Pioneer 50, Skyline 16. Bogan for Pioneer, hands it off to Harris. Harris works her way top of the key. Now trying to get it underneath Covington. Good job going to the ground and pulling that away by Boynton. Coming the other direction, here comes Bowles, top of the key. Underneath the Boynton. Boynton off glass. That rolled all the way around the rim. Wouldn't fall. Bogan the other direction. 3:22 left to go. Bogan on the far wing for Pioneer. Hands it off to Dombrowski. Dombrowski gets the free throw line. Gets it over to Harris. Harris, top of the paint. Now kicks it back to Spizak. Spizak over to Dombrowski. That pass picked off. Coming the other direction is Skyline. Skyline puts it up, puts it in by House. House now has 6 points as Saltada quickly found House in along the baseline, put it in. Bogan brings it ahead for Pioneer over half court. 50 points for Pioneer, 18 for Skyline. Handing it off to Harris. Harris trying to work her way into the paint. That went off of a foot. As House went down to the ground, she stretched a little bit, then pops up. We're glad to see that. Don't want anyone hurt. 2:45 left to go. Coming in is Boucher as well as Miller. For Skyline, going out is House and Perry. House and Perry have played a number of minutes and played very hard. House with 6 points, Perry with 4. Bogan to inbound, baseline right, underneath the Pioneer basket. Bogan gets it over to Spizak. Spizak in the paint, moves it back to the free throw line for Dombrowski. Dombrowski, that went off the back of the rim. Dombrowski grabs it. She works her way back into the paint, floats it off the glass. That's still off the rim, would not fall. Came off the near side. Quickly ahead is Skyline. Tipped away by Pioneer, but it'll remain Skyline ball as Boynton will inbound on that far sideline. 2 minutes, 29 seconds left to go here in the fourth. Bringing it ahead is Bowles. Pioneer 50, Skyline 18. Bowles working against Harris. Moves that over to Boucher. Now there's a shot. That bounced off, trying to get to it. Pacheva took a three-pointer as it hit off the rim, out of bounds, and that'll go Pioneer's way. Spizak inbounds it over to Bogan. 2 minutes, 12 seconds left to go. Bogan moves it over to Spizak. Spizak into the corner for Harris. Harris works her way, trying to get to the paint. Now kicks it over for Bogan on the far wing. Bogan puts up a three-pointer and rattles it home. Bogan has 5 points, under 2 minutes to go. Bringing it up court is Bowles for Skyline. Bowles gets into the paint. That knocked away by the Pioneer defense. Quickly ahead for Harris. Harris comes up to the glass, puts it up. That Covington gets the rebound. Wouldn't fall for her as that rolled around the rim and out. Now gathering it, Bowles for Skyline. 1 minute, 33 seconds left to go. 53 points for Pioneer, 18 for Skyline. As trying to come in, Boucher had it down to the ground. Covington pulls that away. Harris quickly ahead. Harris into the paint. That knocked away by Boynton. Boynton quickly ahead. Grabbing it, Boucher stops on the near wing, moves it over on the far wing. Getting that over to Miller. Miller moves it to Boynton. Boynton for three. That falls off the near side of the rim. Now Harris the other direction. 1 minute left to go here in the fourth. Harris underneath the Covington. Covington over to Spizak just on the near side of the paint. Spizak kicks it out. That to Harris. Harris works her way around the arc, comes over in on the near wing. Over to Spizak. Spizak over to Dombrowski. Bogan has it on the far wing, gets a screen from Spizak, moves it over to Harris on the near wing. Harris back to Bogan. 38 seconds left to go. Pioneer 53, 18 points for Skyline. Harris has it in the near corner. Back over to Covington on the near wing. Covington moves it to Bogan on the far wing. Bogan over to Dombrowski. Dombrowski works her way to the top of the key. Bounce pass over to Harris on the near side, trying to steal that away. Good job to keep a handle on it as Pacheva tried to poke that away. Bogan brings it back. 12 seconds left to go. Bogan spinning, trying to hang on to the ball as trying to knock that away is Boucher. There's a whistle.
Foul is on Skyline with 30. Adeline Boucher.
So Boucher called for the foul. 4.3 seconds left to go. That'll put Bogan to the line. Bogan toes the line, dribbles, spins it, dribbles again, bends at the knees, puts up, and puts it in. Nothing but net for Bogan. That is her 6th point, one more coming. Pioneer in the bonus, that's the 7th foul on Skyline. Bogan dribbles again, spins it, dribbles, bends her knees, eyes the rim, puts it up, that off the front of the rim, then falls off to the far side. Out of bounds, 2.6 seconds left to go. So Pioneer, that was off Skyline. Bogan will inbound baseline right with 2.6 seconds left to go. That inbounded over to Harris, and that will do it as Pioneer wins 54-18. Convincing fashion for Pioneer. Your leading scorer was 17 points for Lauren DeWolf, 11 points for Maya Hicks, 10 points for Alexis Clark. Let's see, make sure I don't miss anyone. Breen Bogan had 6 points, 4 points for Covington, 2 points for Harris, 2 points for Dombrowski, 2 points for Bryant. So really they got a lot of people involved on getting baskets and getting points. Over on the Eagles side, it was 6 points for House, 4 points for Perry, 3 points for Salata, 2 points for O'Brien, 1 point for Batalonga, and 2 points for Boynton. I think I got everyone there. So our next games on Saturday, it's going to be a little crazy. We should have, again, the Pioneer Women's JV game here at 1 o'clock, the Varsity game at 2:30. We will have the Pioneer Men's Hockey game from USA Hockey Rink at 10 a.m. on Saturday, then the women's game from Betts at 2 a.m. The Toledo game, or the Temperance Bedford game in Toledo, so Pioneer Men's Hockey versus Temperance Bedford, has been canceled. That was for 6 o'clock that night. So just one Pioneer men's hockey game. So we will have 2 hockey games, 2 basketball games on Saturday. We will catch our breath tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting these wonderful, amazing athletes. We wish you could be here, but thank you for cheering wherever you are at. Special thanks to the Varsity Cheerleading Squad for providing atmosphere. For my cameraman extraordinaire, James Wiseman, my name is Mark Wiseman. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful night. All right, all right.